A warm welcome to you all, and great to have you here, and everyone that's watching or watching on a later moment, because it will be recorded. And before introducing the guests or asking you to introduce yourselves, let's say a little bit about why we are having this round table. What was it that made us think, let's have a round table at this Dutch Green Building Week? As DLA Piper, we are an international law firm, and we have, I guess, the biggest real estate practice around the world. And we see a lot of what's happening in the world, in the industry, the real estate industry and its subsectors. And one of the things we see is that the focus on climate change, climate adaptation, sustainability is a fast-growing subject. And for me, as an environmental and planning lawyer, I see a correspondence with my own practice, because a few years ago it was just me somewhere in a green corner of the firm focusing on climate change, and now it's getting into the heart of our real estate practice, and that's what's happening in the sector itself. It's getting from a green corner of the sector with just some pioneers into the heart of the sector, and combining this movement of the sector with just a question of this week, deemed Made in Holland, and questioning whether the Netherlands is a front runner. Is it somewhere in the middle? Is it behind? I hope not, but maybe. We were wondering, have a view on this subject from an international perspective. So we've asked Arthur from Prologis to provide his experience, asked Edwin from Vermeer, but I hope he will join in a few minutes to give his perspective. Then asked Bahar just to give an objective perspective from INREV based on all the data you have, and asked Martin from Germany just to challenge us and to challenge us whether we are right in the Netherlands or maybe we should change our view of ourselves. But all to answer this question: where are we in the Netherlands? Are we a front runner, somewhere in the middle, somewhere behind? Maybe we'll find out before it's 5 o'clock. So let's start with, well, ladies first, and you're in my left corner, so we start there. Bahar, could you introduce yourself and tell me what you do?
Sure, of course. Thank you for introduction, Arjen. It's a pleasure to be here for me. My name is Bahar Celik. I'm working in the professional standards team at INREV. I'm mainly responsible from the professional standards portfolio, which includes topics such as reporting, due diligence, corporate governance, and also ESG sustainability. Sustainability initiatives of INREV is my main responsibility, and in that sense, I'm working closely with the ESG committee of INREV. I'm managing ESG sustainability related projects together with them. Yes, we have been very busy on this topic for the last couple of years, and we will be busy in the future. It looks like that. Before INREV, I worked for almost a year at GRESB, where I supported their infrastructure assessments, ESG assessments. And actually, my sustainability journey was started back in 2012 when I was working for a private bank. I was a product developer, and my main responsibility was sustainable finance products. So yeah, I'm happy to be here and looking forward to our discussion. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Yeah. What's it for you, Arthur?
Yeah.
To introduce yourself, what you're doing here.
Okay. Thank you, Arjen. My name is Arjen van Kooij. First of all, it's an honor to be here and talk with you about the green future of real estate. And what I really like is the diversity of the people here around the table, coming from different angles in the real estate sector. So looking forward to have this chat. I'm working at Prologis, developer, investor, and long-term owner of logistics real estate. I'm responsible for project management in Northern Europe. That means I take care of the development process of logistics real estate, so distribution centers in Benelux, Germany, and Sweden. I do that with local teams, but all dedicated to sustainability, and I must say, working on new initiatives, testing innovations in live projects. I think that are one of the most joyful parts in this role. To give you an idea about Prologis, in Northern Europe, we have approximately 5.7 million square meter of logistics space under management, and approximately 96 buildings are located in the Benelux. So that's quite a big portfolio.
Great. It is great, yeah.
Thank you.
And then we see Edwin. He is here. He managed to get through all the login files and
yeah, IT is not my specialty.
But great to have you here.
Thank you. Now, a small introduction. I'm not working for an IT company, otherwise I would have been earlier on board. But no, I'm a chairman of the board of one of the companies part of Dura Vermeer, a Dutch family-based company with a long history, and we are active in both construction and development in the real estate sector, residential and non-residential. Looking always for a green future. I'm really enthusiastic about the panel we have today, the variety in there, and it's also a bit of a search for us as a company, sustainability versus green. I think a topic which we will discuss further today. But looking forward to the panel discussion we're having.
Great, thanks. And then Martin, up to you. You crossed the border to Germany.
Thanks, Arjen. Thanks. My name is Martin Haller. I'm a lawyer based in Munich and partner at DLA Piper. I'm heading the real estate sector at DLA Piper in Germany, and I'm a member of the International Real Estate Steering Committee at DLA Piper. And today I hope that I can share some insights from a German/international perspective, and to say a few words about what we see in practice as lawyers when we are advising on deals, being development or investment. What ESG components do we already see, and where do we need to move? So yeah, looking forward to the discussion.
Great, thanks. Well, maybe we should start with just the experience from the sector itself, and then challenge them by more the objective data from Bahar and the INREF, what they have collected from the sector. So Arthur, maybe you could start with just explain a little bit about what sustainability means to Prologis. What do you do? How do you implement it in your portfolio?
Yes.
And if you want to share something, please say it, and we will put it into the screen.
Yeah, okay, I will. Thank you. I think sustainability for Prologis goes beyond real estate. It's not only about making future-proof and energy-efficient buildings. It's much more than that. I think sustainability or investments in buildings often we're seen as there needs to be a return on investment, otherwise we don't do it. I think that mindset has completely changed, and nowadays it's much more how should I say it, a holistic view, where we take into account of course the customer and build long-term relationships. So that's also part of sustainability, and that also means future-proofing our buildings by building in flexibility, and also we have invested, for example, in health and well-being of the employees that work under our roofs in our buildings, to help our customers to attract and retain employees, which is a big challenge in some regions where our facilities are located. I think community has become a very important part of our strategy, to see what we can do to present ourselves and the facilities that we own in the environment. For example, we have a community workforce initiative supporting our customers to get access to qualified labor. And we have programs in place to also make sustainability more accessible for our existing customers. And we have a big solar program in place. So it's quite, it's not just one topic, it's a very broad perspective, which is part of our strategy.
And it's not only related to your own employees, your own project, but also the next step to the customers, or what they do, their employees, and next level, the community surrounding your property.
Absolutely. And how should I say it? It's really part of our DNA. You see it throughout the whole company, and it's a really important value as part of the brand Prologis.
Yeah, and it's also the move from just return on investment to that holistic approach. Is it the same for you, Edwin, or for Dura? Is it a holistic approach?
No, I think for us, sustainability is kind of a wide range of words. For us, it's making your company future-proof. Mm-hmm. We're not only having a long history as a company, but we also would like to have a long future. And I think sustainability is a key asset in that, to survive in the world which is changing continuously. And that's not only in our products, that's also in the way you are representing your company in society. I think society should always be a kind of a picture of your company. The things and the changes in society should be visible in your company. And I think that when you always look ahead of what's the challenges to come, that makes you a sustainable company. That's how we look into it. And I think with the challenges the world is seeing on the environmental part is a really high topic in that, but also the social aspects, diversity and things like that is something you need to, I think, very clearly put on the agenda within your company to be able to, well, have a bright future and a long future. So that's how we look at it.
So green and sustainable is just one part of, well, sustainability, like,
well, taking care of the world we live in is necessary to be able to get a future. That's, I think, is something which we are all on the same page on. There can not be any discussion about that. So yes, that is a vital item in the products we create. But it's not only about the products we create, it's about the clients and their necessities, but also about the personnel we're having and the way they are being able to work for a sustainable company.
Yeah.
So there's multiple layers in the word sustainability within the company, let's say it like that.
Yeah. And do you see that also, Bahar, in your research, that there are so many layers in these words and the context they used in?
Yeah, for real estate specific, actually it was started with the environmental aspects. We see that we have been talking about energy savings, cost savings, and greenhouse gas emissions was mainly related to meeting regulatory requirements or cutting operational costs. But now we are seeing this approach that is already mentioned, making it more holistic, and we see that tenant engagement, stakeholder engagement becoming more important. And it used to be something nice to have, but now we see that it is becoming a must-have with a more holistic approach. As Edwin said, it is for future-proofing our investments and assets. So yeah, we see that in the data as well. There's a growing interest in those topics.
Yeah. And is this the same? And if you want to share some slides of your presentation, please say it, and we'll put them in the screen. But is this movement from just environmental to a broader, more ESG topic the same for all the countries you're investigating, or do we see some differences between the Netherlands and other countries? Could you tell something about that?
Yeah, perhaps it might be a good time to show my slides because I have some comparisons between countries. Yeah, but before doing that, I want to highlight we need more research on this topic. That's for sure. So there are comparison between regions, there are comparison between different sectors. But when we look at Europe, for instance, we need more comparison between perhaps different countries, different experiences. But definitely, I can provide in a very, very short sense an overview on the general trends, if it's okay for you. I just want to start with some insights from two important studies that INREV published last year. Here you see with this graph, on the left-hand side, it represents investors' perspective. And on the right-hand side, it represents the investment managers' practices. So the left-hand side graph is from INREV's Investor Universe survey. Actually, we asked to investors to rate the importance of sustainability in their area of business. And almost 82% of the real estate investors across Europe, they place it in the two highest levels, either important or very important. So, and we also compared different countries. Perhaps this could be an answer to your question here. Yeah, we see that from this survey, Swedish investors particularly stood out. But when we look at the Dutch investors, more than 95% of Dutch investors see sustainability as either important or very important. So it is in Dutch investors' agenda. We can say that. It clearly indicates that there is a strong degree of commitment. This is a very, very positive graph, the left-hand side graph. And when we look at the right-hand side, this is a study that we do for our self-assessment tool. We compare the general compliance with our INREV guidelines. And you see the dark blue one. This represents the overall compliance with INREV guidelines, which increased from 80% to 85%. But when we look at the only sustainability guidelines, the increase is even higher. Within 2 years, it increased from 55% to 73%. That means that investment managers are now taking into account sustainability. They are reporting on their sustainable strategies, objectives, targets around this. So this is a very positive movement, and this represents the European investment managers.
Corresponds with Martin. The question to you: does this correspond with what you see, your feeling with market? It's a hard question, maybe.
I would say the industry is we are not where we should be. Sorry, there's a lot of work ahead of us, I guess. So if you look at ESG, then I think there is a lawyer's angle, a professional lawyer's angle, where you say there's a lot of regulations to be implemented. There is green due diligence, and there is ESG rating. We need to implement green leases stuff, and the reporting directive and taxonomy and whatever. So that's a professional lawyer's view, and then there is an industry view where you would say we need to make it better. We need to improve. And maybe because you said that Germany is ahead of you guys in Holland, I wouldn't say so. It's really impressive your Green Building Week and the way you are speaking about ESG. You ways ahead of what we do in Germany. So having a German/international view on it, I would say that there is really room for improvement still. And then I have a private view on it, and the private view is that we need to act. We need to act. If it will not be perfect from the beginning, and that there will be, I don't know, in the next 10 years, 15 years, the whole system needs to improve, of course. And there will be, for example, taxonomy and so forth will not be perfect from the start. But we need to change now. The next 1, 2, 3 years. And it's so great to hear the commercial and technical guys speaking about it, because they don't care about regulations. They don't care about laws. They just say it's important for us and we need to change something. Hearing Prologis and Arthur speaking is really fantastic, because it's much more for them, and it has changed here. It's not hunting the last euro. It's really taking responsibility for the people which come after us. And as you said yesterday, Arjen, there's a book in the Netherlands sold very well, which the name of it is How Can I Explain It to My Children? I guess something like that. And this is exactly the point. How do we want to explain to our children that we are chatting to London for a lunch? That's just nothing we can explain in the future. It needs to stop. And the industry needs to change. And now the question is, how do we do it? And there are a lot of regulations. The problem is we won't be able to force everybody to change. You can't force anybody to change a mindset. That's impossible. And this is where we need to start ourselves. We need to change our mindset, and then hopefully bring others to also change what they are thinking. But we need to we ourselves as persons privately need to make a difference. And that's the one thing. And of course we need some regulations. But it will not be perfect. We need flexibility. That's the problem, because a holistic view, you can't put a holistic view into laws. That's just it's impossible. So we need to start. We need to find a starting point. It will not be perfect. Everybody will complain a lot about Brussels and the EU, but this is where we need to start, in my view.
Yeah. I think, Martin, to respond to that, I think what's very interesting, you said various times regulations, and they might influence or accelerate certain decisions, but I think it's mostly we do it because we believe in it. That should be the mindset, and that, I think, reaches beyond just having someone telling you what to do. That's
absolutely. Now, I guess we need both, to be honest, because not everybody is such a front runner as you are, and you know that there are others in the market who may need to be pushed a little bit. But the point is, this is nothing. This is not a EU directive where we need to find a sneaky way around it, but it's meant serious, and we need to start to really implement it. And again, it's fantastic to hear how you understand it. And in my view, I can tell you, sorry, if you have a minute, I can tell you a story, because I'm telling you that it will not be perfect from the beginning. And the reason is, you have heard maybe about the NF in Germany, where you do calculate your primary energy demand, and then you get subsidies from the state and so on. And if you have a bad construction, you can still make it up by installing some photovoltaic systems on your roof. So because I'm building a house right now, built so much photovoltaic systems on his roof that he can't use the energy anymore. So what he did is building an outdoor pool which he can heat with the electricity which remains from all these photovoltaic systems. It's all paid by the state. This is not how it was meant in the beginning. So, but still, yeah, we need to start and kick it off.
It's a journey we have to take on, and every step will be a better one than the one before.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. What does it mean to you, Edwin? What's the main driver? Is it regulations? Is it what you believe yourself, or is it what the customers want to have from DURA? I guess you're on mute. I don't hear you.
Yes.
Yes.
No, I think it's difficult to pinpoint it on one of the items you just mentioned. Of course, our customers is in the end why we make products, so they are extremely important in that. But there's many items which is not so much to do with the product we create, but the way we make it, the logistics approach towards the construction site. The materialization which the client doesn't see. I don't have any clients who say I don't like the type of concrete you use. So I think we should be careful to not always find or look for one specific item, regulation, client, or government, or anything. I think we are learning along the way, and I think we have to be careful always in sustainability. You cannot start over. We have companies, we have a direction, we are a ship which is sailing, and it cannot be turned around immediately, and it doesn't have to be also. We make mistakes together and we learn, and then we make it better. I think that's the approach you should always have in items like this. And I think a view is very important, as Martin also mentioned before. The view is one of the necessities to be able to change. But after that, there come a lot of other factors which are bit by bit creating that view which we want to reach. So I could give a lot of explanation about what I think about the current regulations, and do they motivate or do they demotivate? But on the other hand, it's just the way it is. And I think if somebody is really believing in the goal and the view they're having, you will go around that, and bit by bit you will change in the direction you need. So all motivation helps, but I don't think it's only about the regulation or only about our clients.
Yeah. Is this something you could have a view on in your research, Bahar, that what's the motivation for companies to make a change or to move? Is this something to ask for, or is it too hard to find out?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it could be a specific research question. Yeah, a good one. Yeah, for now, yeah, it's not included in my slides, but I provided which aspects are addressed by investment managers with the next slide. But yeah, it is something you might already guess. It's about greenhouse gas emissions, water, waste, energy, and we see only health and well-being as a social topic. So yeah, to me, to your point, I think all important. The regulation is important. The global goals are important that we are hearing a lot, and it is not a trend, but it is here. It is the new normal that we are experiencing. And I believe we as an industry, we achieved a lot of things. So we might not be at the place that we have to be, but there is already a lot of achievement, and it is not something that we can achieve at overnight. You can compare it with for instance, with the financial standards. We have a history of financial standards, accounting standards, regulations around that. I don't think they also happened like overnight. It is a process. Now we are discussing policies, how to manage it, how to report it. Then in a short time we will be discussing how to prove it. Yeah, we are already discussing actually. So yeah, I see it as a journey, and I think we are on the right track on this.
Yeah.
And as I see it here, Arthur, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I do see the different areas here on your slide, which are of interest, of course. Something what I do experience myself on a daily basis, that it's difficult. It's challenging to do a pilot project with something more sustainable, with a new innovation, a new initiative. But then the next step is even more difficult to roll it out on a broader scale, in a different environment, in different international settings. And that's sometimes underestimated, then you see something local which works perfectly and is a really good pilot, but to make it scalable, that can really be complex. But on the other hand, that makes it interesting as well.
Is this also your experience, Edwin? The step from pioneering to...
I think with everything new, it takes its time to become standard mainstream. So I think that is true, and I think there is regulations can support that better than they do currently. So yeah, I see that point Arthur is making. So I don't know exactly how to change it, because I think we should also not always look to the surrounding world to make us do things. I think that's one of the things we have said too long and looked at too long. And I think also on the other hand, I think the interchanging knowledge between countries, for example, on things like regulations is very limited, I think, at the moment. So we don't have a real good best practice platform in the world. We have a worldwide problem, but we all cope with it in a regional setting. Yeah. I think that could get some better support in places. It is improving, but it's not yet that I think we are there where we should be to have the speed which we need to see. And I think that's one of the things why I think we all see improvement, but we don't see the steps be taken in the speed where we actually like to see them.
Edwin, do you think that has to do with transparency in our sector, or do you?
Yeah, I think sometimes that we are still, and it's difficult because in the end we're all businesses and we all need to have a return on our investment. But sometimes we think, okay, we have a good idea. I want to make profit out of myself, and I think that's blocking also a bit the speed in which we make the steps. So I think transparency is part of that. While at the same time, you should, of course, also be able to diverse yourself as a company. And I find that quite difficult. On the other hand, you're a company trying to diverse yourself from your competitors, from your surroundings, but you are trying to be part of let's say, a worldwide crisis coming up. So,
yeah,
I find it a really difficult.
In some other industries, they're using the best available techniques just to compare one industry with another or one company with another. Would that be very useful to have in the real estate industry? Just a standard like this is the best available technique, do you use it, or explain why you don't?
I think it would have a positive impact. Yeah, I think if you if you change the setup of your earnings, and I think that's another topic which we have not yet discussed, is what is the future perspective on earnings from companies? Is that the way we are looking at it now, or is that are we a service provider instead of a product provider in the future? And I think that's also part of sustainability, that you have to look at different earnings methods and models. And I think if you change that model, I think that interaction and exchange of knowledge is also easier.
Yeah, there's more room for just an open, transparent way of doing business in real estate. Yeah. Is this something you see, Bahar, in your studies, that a move to a different approach, or more open, transparent?
Yeah, actually, the first graph reporting on sustainability shows transparency. There is still some gap between the what we have with the common reporting practices, and when we compare it with sustainability, there's still a gap. But when we compare the development within sustainability reporting, we see an increase. And also, outside the INRE researches, GRESB score could be a good example, because it is the benchmark that we have right now. And they provide a score covering all ESG aspects. And when we look at the GRESB scores, this is also a tool for disclosure, right? So it is used for disclosure, and we see a long-term continuous increase in GRESB scores. And I try to compare here with the first graph different regions, but it is not possible to see because they're very slight, almost same, slight differences between regions. So we can say there is an improvement in ESG, sustainability, transparency, and it is all over the world. But of course, if we compare it with other sectors, or if we don't know where we have to be right now. So we just know that where we were before.
Maybe that's your next slide, comparing it with other sectors, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Actually, it's based on Sustainalytics universe. They are providing ESG risk ratings for almost all sectors, and they have a universe which includes 12,000 companies. It's possible to compare different sectors. I just provided here 12 sectors by randomly, included real estate as well. The methodology is based on assessing the risk exposure and the management. So they show unmanaged risks. But it is mainly determined by the industry. That's why we see oil and gas at the right-hand side of the graph with high and severe risk. Even if they have good management, they can manage it at a degree. So because of their industry. And real estate is in a good position. Here we see we have medium or low level of risk, managed risk actually. But we should be careful with this. We should bear in mind that it is important to compare apple-to-apple comparison, because each sector has different issues, different sustainability risks and topics, material topics. So it is always important to have an idea about what other sectors are doing. But this graph does not mean that we don't have important sustainability topics or issues.
Very interesting to look into this. Yes. And this is a question to Arthur. You work for the Netherlands, for the Benelux, for Germany, for Sweden. Maybe I forget one or two countries. Do you see a difference between these countries and their approach to these kind of risk and their appetite to take measures into sustainability in other sense?
Yeah, we do see differences, for example, in regulations, and I think a great example is the solar projects. Maybe we can put that slide on the screen. In the Benelux, or mainly in the Netherlands, we have been very successful in rolling out a rooftop solar program, aiming for over 60 megawatts by photovoltaic systems on the roofs of our buildings. So it's quite a big program, and that's accelerated by regulations. And in, for example, Sweden and Germany, I see that it's more difficult to roll out such a program of that magnitude. So that's certainly there we do certainly see differences. And yeah, maybe Martin does recognize that from a regulation point of view.
Could you offer some help, Martin?
And we touched on that earlier. It's true, and that's also my impression that the Netherlands are far ahead of Germany. That has to do with the German federalism, maybe. So we have 16 German states, as you may know, with 16 different regulation and planning systems. So it's a disaster for any developer. I appreciate that you're still active in Germany, Arthur, but it's really tough for developers to somehow get through that jungle. And we need to do something there. We need to get rid of many regulations. We need to get rid of many things which we have developed over the last decades, which are which now hinder us from being more efficient with regards to developing ESG schemes. That's true.
Yeah, and to give you an example, we do see sometimes a mismatch in the regulations and what fits our industry. For example, if we lease a building for a certain period to a customer, and we are willing, or the customer is willing to invest, or together we're willing to invest in solar panels, and the return on investment is longer than the lease, then sometimes that can be complex because there are different interests. But then there are also tax issues which might be challenging, and that's what we have experienced in Germany so far. So we are now searching for a solution, and we have, for example, a program called Solar Smart, where we really try to match to put on to engineer the right solar system with the right capacity that fits the needs of the customer, in order to see how we can still make it work without having the challenges from a tax perspective.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. It's when we are speaking about regulations, it's not only additional regulations, meaning that we need to have regulations on transparency, which is obvious, and we need to make our products comparable with regard to ESG alignability. That's clear, and then we may need additional regulations, but there's also a lot of deregulation which we need, and making it possible to develop ESG schemes and to implement new ideas. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
On a European level, to mention that it's not only Germany, but maybe it's a bigger issue than elsewhere. But I think that applies to any country.
In the meantime, I'm checking there's also a chat function with this roundtable, and there's someone just stating, and it's, I guess, a quote from Edwin: "Sustainability is beyond making a building green." That's something we started with, and just getting through this. There's a lot in there, and we've just touched, I guess. Well, Bahar, you are the one from the numbers here, but it's maybe 10 or 15% of all the topics that are in here. Maybe next year we should just take a whole day for this to discuss all these topics. And on the other hand, I'm happy with Martin saying these are the first steps, and we will also always do something that not the best thing, but we try, and we're getting through to the next step, and it's a journey we have to make together. So I see this conversation today as just one step along the road, and next year we will see again some graphs, and then we will see we're getting a little bit better, and next year we will again will be a little bit better on it. So that's great. And just for the sake of time, I don't know whether we will just shut off or what will happen. We're running now a little bit out of time. But also for the sake of the ones that are watching and that will move maybe to another session, or the ones that will look to the recording, I would say thanks a lot for you for all that's just shared here, and for providing a lot of information and thoughts that we can discuss for maybe another day and evening, and a lot more. So thanks a lot for it. To continue, we have a digital stand on the digital exhibition floor. It's somewhere on this website. You will be able to find it. So please be welcome to get over there. We will be there for the rest of this week. So it's tomorrow and Thursday also. Friday is also included, I guess, but I'm not sure about that. So very welcome to be there. And for now, thanks a lot for joining here, for sharing everything, all the insights, and all the ones that were watching this roundtable. Also, thanks a lot for taking time, and have a wonderful day. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye-bye. Bye.